What Wendy's doing. Oil at $107, the Strait of Hormuz choked with mines, and a judge in Oregon reminded the government trans kids are patients, not props. Spring came anyway. The old season won't leave. Time to write about it. Table of contents. What's Wendy doing weather? Check the daily gathering. The draft, dodging bone spur, warmonger's $107 problem to the end of the world, Argentina's forests. A judge in Oregon remembered some shit life survival. Resistance community, culture and nature, hacks and food life survival, action legends of our time, in-depth must-read, etc. and absurdity, the gathering history. Life survival, what can I do? Who is in the gathering? Recommendation, subscribe, stand up fight back free email without sacrificing your privacy. Gmail is free, but you pay with your data. Proton Mail is different. We don't scan your messages. We don't sell your behavior. We don't follow you across the internet. Proton Mail gives you full-featured private email without surveillance or creepy profiling. It's email that respects your time, your attention, and your boundaries. Email doesn't have to cost your privacy. Ditch the Gmail data grab. Weather check Atlanta. 60s Van F. Clear. The dogwoods are blooming along Ponce de Leon, indifferent to the price of gasoline. Detroit. 54F. Light rain. Drizzle on the assembly line parking lots. Puddles collecting in potholes the city cannot afford to fill. Kansas City. 71F. Sunny. 86 by afternoon. The kind of March heat that used to be May's. New York. 50F. Overcast. A low ceiling pressing down on Midtown like an unpaid bill. San Francisco, 62F, sunny, 75 and gorgeous, the kind of day the tech layoffs can't ruin. Miami, 70F, light rain, warm drizzle at the President's Golf Club, where the greens are kept immaculate and the war briefings are not. Join the 5,000+ subscribers who read the Daily Exhale. The Daily Gathering, a grief-peddling cock-waffle megalomanist, started a war 3 weeks ago because he was told it would be quick. Brent crude closed at $107 and your grocery bill knows it. The bag is lighter, the receipt identical. First time here? Welcome to the gathering. Editor's note, the equinox doesn't give a fuck about your geopolitics. Recommendation, subscribe. The brief, the draft. Dodging bone spur. Warmonger's $107 problem. The temperature inside a gas station in Akron, Ohio at 6 a.m. is always fluorescent and too warm. The coffee is $2.19. The regular unleaded is $3.63. 1 month ago it was $2.94. What they said, gas prices will drop very rapidly when this is over. That was Donald Trump. The Bone Spur brigadier who launched Operation Epic Fury with Netanyahu on February 28th and acted shocked when Iran struck Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, and Kuwait. The reality-averse commander-in-chief was warned by General Dan Kane that Iran would close the Strait of Hormuz. He shrugged. Iran mined the waterway. Tanker traffic dropped from 50 ships per day to single digits. 20% of the world's oil no longer moves. The damage, human cost. Over 2,000 dead. 1,200 in Iran, 850 in Lebanon, 13 U.S. service members killed. Pattern. Global SPR releases of 400 million barrels. 4 days of consumption against a bonfire. Action. Call your representatives. Demand a ceasefire vote. 2-1-2-2. 224 to 31-21. The regime Trump promised to topple has decentralized command cells that don't need a switchboard to launch retaliation. The Hill, the war of choice, is becoming the inheritance nobody asked for. To the end of the world, Argentina's forests. At the frozen tip of South America, where the Beagle Channel meets Tierra del Fuego, the water is 46F, and the giant kelp is still alive. Evidence. Relationship breaking. Kelp forests globally vanish faster than tropical rainforests and coral reefs. Rising ocean temperatures are the mechanism. Scale. Argentina's Tierra del Fuego holds 60% of the country's kelp, subantarctic waters stable enough to serve as Earth's last refuge for Macrocystis pyrifera. Expert voice. Carolina Pantano of WhoreMuz has spent 3 years fighting to protect 90% of Argentina's kelp from exploitation. A team sailed 8 days to Peninsula Mitre, past SAI whales, Magellanic penguins, Peale's dolphins, to document intact marine ecosystems before they exist only in past tense. Action. Support. WhoreMuz. Earth. Org. What we refuse to protect, we have already decided to lose. A judge in Oregon remembered some shit judge Mustafa Kasubhai sat in a federal courtroom in Eugene and did something the tantrum-prone dealmakers administration apparently forgot was possible. He read the statute. Stakes. Pattern. RFK Jr. S. December declaration labeled gender-affirming care for minors as failing professional standards. 27 Republican states already ban such care. HHS threatened to strip funding from any hospital still providing it. Timeline. December 2025 declaration. Seattle Children's investigated 21 Democratic states, sued March 19th, ruling. The bankruptcy-seasoned strategist installed a conspiracy-peddling health secretary who tried to rewrite medicine by fiat. Kasubhai called it, governance by, see if we can get away with it. Movement. HRC, ACLU, and 21 plaintiff states press on. Appeal expected. Support HRC. LGBTQ nation trans kids did not stop being patients because a politician needed a headline. Don't miss our daily news digest. Have it delivered. Every morning life survival, resistance. I had to fight to be me and get respect. And to carry that stigma, for me, is pride. Chavela Vargas, Costa Rican-Mexican ranchera singer. Interview, 2000. Survival wisdom. How you carry this forward. The fight Chavela described wasn't metaphor. She meant the church, the industry, the men who owned the stages she commandeered in a poncho for 7 decades. The daily labor of refusing to become the version of yourself that makes other people comfortable. You won't be rewarded for this fight while you're in it. You do it anyway. That's the whole architecture of staying alive. Community, culture, and nature 72% support LGBTQ+ protections. A PRI survey of 20,000 adults finds supermajorities across nearly every religious group. 56% of Republicans agree. The cruelty is policy, not consensus. Pink News faith didn't break them. LGBTQ people raised in religious shame are building honest lives on the other side. The stories keep arriving like evidence in a case already won. LGBTQ nation shingles vaccine cuts heart risk 46%. In 24-6-822, adults with heart disease, 66% lower mortality within a year. The data doesn't stutter. Science daily virus therapy cracks glioblastoma. An engineered herpes virus drew immune fighters into brain tumors, extending survival. 20 years of stagnant treatment just moved. Science daily hacks and food subscription creep audit every recurring charge this weekend. The average American carries $2.19 a month in forgotten subscriptions. Cancel 3. Redirect the money to your emergency fund or a mutual aid org. Feeling. The lightness of money that was leaving without your consent. Suddenly yours again. Seasonal allergy assault. Local raw honey. 1 tablespoon daily starting now. Pair with a neti pot rinse using distilled water. The pollen won't negotiate. Neither should your sinuses. Feeling. A clear breath through both nostrils. First time in a week. Kitchen drawer chaos. Empty it completely. Throw away every takeout menu and mystery battery. 1 divider tray, $6. Done. Feeling. Opening a drawer and knowing where the scissors are. A small sovereignty. Asparagus. Snap the woody ends. Toss spears in olive oil and flaky salt. Roast at 425 F for 12 minutes until the tips char. The first local stocks are showing up at farmers markets this week. thin and sharp as accusations. Windowsill scallions. Save root ends in a jar of water. Change daily. Full regrowth in 10 days. Infinite supply. A corporate bypass so simple it feels like theft. 15-minute white bean smash. Canned cannellini. Garlic. Olive oil. Lemon juice. Chili flakes. Sourdough. Arugula. Mash the beans rough. Pile everything on toast. Feeds 4. Costs under $6. Nobody goes hungry because the week was awful. Life survival. Action. If you can't stand up for your most vulnerable constituents, you don't deserve to be in public office. Danica Roem, Virginia State Senator, first openly trans state legislator in U.S. history, Burn the Page, 2022. Moving forward, your armor for today. Roem knocked on 75,000 doors to prove that line. If the people you elected use trans children as fundraising props and war debt as background noise, your job isn't helplessness. Your job is to make them feel watched. Call, show up, fund the challengers. Bigotry is a hell of a strategy until the goddamn votes get counted. Legends of our time today's heroes didn't ask permission. Chavela Vargas recorded 80-plus albums across 7 decades, a queer Costa Rican immigrant singing rancheras in men's suits. Debuted Carnegie Hall at 83, claimed the word lesbian at 81. Danica Roem knocked on 75,000 doors, outraised her opponent 3-1, and unseated a 13-term incumbent who called himself Virginia's chief homophobe. First openly trans state legislator in U.S. history. Toni Morrison published 11 novels, won the 1988 Pulitzer, became the first Black woman to receive the Nobel Prize in Literature, 1993. A singer, a legislator, a novelist. None waited, all built. In-depth must-read, credit where it's due. David French. Sweaty's Corner. Jeff Anderson. Our family at Sweaty's breaks down how even a conservative columnist sees the Iran quagmire for what it is. Sharp enough to cut glass. Read. What is your evolution of queer consciousness? Brandon Elrich's Substack. Brandon Elrich. Brandon, family, ours, asks the question that changes everything. When did you first know? Publications survive because readers show up. Read, etc. and absurdity. The week in appreciating your sex. The Fourth Circuit says states can ban adult trans care to encourage citizens to appreciate their sex. An Oregon judge says the feds can't ban youth care without following the law. The country argues with itself in courtrooms while prescriptions hang in limbo. History. Compton's Cafeteria Riot, San Francisco, 1966. Trans women fought police 3 years before Stonewall. Clickbait. Federal court bans trans care funding so adults can appreciate their sex. Them the Gathering History, Bayard Rustin organized the March on Washington, 1963. Denmark recognized same-sex partnerships, 1989. Danica Roem unseated Virginia's chief homophobe, 2017. Rachel Carson published Silent Spring, 1962. The ACA was signed, 2010. Marsha P. Johnson co-founded STAR, 1970. Life survival, what can I do? Freeing yourself was one thing, claiming ownership of that freed self was another. Toni Morrison, Beloved, 1987. What you carry forward into the burning world. Morrison wrote that about a woman who escaped slavery and then had to learn what freedom required, which was everything. That's the work today, not the escape, the claiming. You read the news, your chest tightens. The impulse is to close the tab. Don't. Sit with what you know. Let it settle into your hands. Then move. The freed self. Walking. Who is in the gathering? The voices woven into this work. Poetry and feelings. The poet Miranda. Calm personal queer journey. Thistle and fern. Org life. Banter. Brandon Elrich. Substack. Calm Lisa's porch talk. Wizitoya. Org. Wizitoya. Substack. Calm presence. Not permission. Presence, not permission. Beehive. Com, become a member. Thistle and moss. Com, tra, upgrade.